My beauty is distracting me.
I'll put that in the beginning of the video.
Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel where I talk about faith, relationship events, and lifestyle. And today I will be taking you on a personal journey into who I used to be and who I am right now. Stay tuned. So in this video, I will be answering some personal questions that will give you an insight into my old self and my new self. So the first question. In one word, my old self was naive and my new self is a visionary. So what has changed about my social life and relations is that I used to believe, my old self used to believe that the whole world evolves around me, not because I necessarily have everything I needed, but because I really was not opportuned to associate with other people. So I believed, or I was of the opinion that who I am is actually all to who I should be. So basically, I felt that what I needed at that point of my life was everything I needed. And that was because I was not that exposed. I was not really exposed to the knowledge I'm exposed to right now. And another thing that has actually changed about my social life and relations is that my mindset of being social then was that you have to be corrupt. And you have to be worldly. You can't be social and then still be spiritual. That used to be my mindset. So when I hear the word social, I think it's about being corrupt, basically. But right now, I have a better understanding that, being social is not about being wayward. It's not about being corrupt. But it's about having a social life. It's about having the understanding of how to relate with other people. So what has changed about my mindset was fashion and money is that, then about 5 years ago now, if I'm right, 5 years ago when I was in school or when I just got admitted, and a few years earlier to that, I used to believe that, there's a particular way you have to dress as a believer. Of course, I'm still of that school of belief that as a believer, you should be modest and decent, But then I used to believe that there's a certain way you should dress. There is, the length of skirt you should wear. There is, there is a length of top you should wear. You should always tie scarf 24/7 as a believer. You shouldn't use makeup. You shouldn't, use jewelries. You shouldn't wear trousers and other beliefs like that. And that was actually as a result of where I was coming from. And I'm not saying this to talk down any religion. I'm just saying that was actually how I grew up. That was how I grew up, and that was what I was made to believe. And then I was super proud of it, and I was not ashamed of it, right? And right now, I'm not regretting the fact that, I used to dress that way. But what has changed about my fashion sense and my mindset towards fashion is that right now I believe that you can still look good and then still be spiritual. You can still use your jewelries, you can still do your makeup moderately, of course. You can still wear your wigs. You can still wear your trousers and then not exposing yourself as well. So I believe that fashion, you're not meant to be limited in the way you think when it comes to your fashion sense. I believe your fashion should be an exploration into who you are, or your fashion should really reveal who you are and your personality. So your fashion should not be limited in that sense into looking in a particular way in the name of religion and in the name of Christianity. That is my belief. And towards money, I used to believe that money is, there is, of course, it is written in the scripture that the love of money is the root of evil. But then my understanding of that scripture is that, if you like money, then you are evil. If you want money, you are evil. So I basically believe that I was contented with who I was. There's no point, being more. There's no point desiring more out of life. There's no point giving expression to all of my abilities. There's no point. I was just contented basically with who I was and where I was, because I felt I was contented with the amount I have. My parents were feeding me, and then if I go to school too, and probably I got a secondary school teaching job, I'm still fine as long as I can feed myself. I really don't have that mentality of I want to become a blessing to generation. So I needed to really work hard to make more money, because my money can actually be a source of blessing as well. I was not of that mindset. But right now, I believe that my money is a resource and a tool, a powerful one in reaching out to lives and being a blessing to them. So I believe right now that money can no longer control me as long as I have a spiritual understanding of what money is. So right now, I strongly believe that, money is a tool for propagating the gospel, and wanting to make more money as a believer is not a sin. So I really want to give myself to developing my businesses, getting better at my businesses, pursuing my career, and then making more money. And then another mindset I used to have about money then is that I used to believe that some things are too expensive for me to afford. But right now I'm of the opinion that if I can't afford something, it's not because it's too expensive. It's because I probably couldn't afford it at that time, but not because it's too expensive for me. So right now I believe that I'm of the opinion that nothing is too expensive to get for myself. Of course, moderately. So let me be more practical about this. Then, if I want to get a bag and then I was told the bag is 30,000 naira, I believe I can't buy a bag of 30,000 naira. For what? Why should I buy a bag of 30,000 naira? So I used to believe that it is too expensive. I can't buy a bag of 30,000 naira. But right now, I want to live a baby girl's life. So if I'm making the money, I'm giving to the gospel, I'm paying my tithes, paying my offering, doing the work of God, and I have the money. Why can't I buy a bag of 30,000 naira? Do you understand? So that used to be my mindset about money, and that is the shift, or this is my mindset about money right now. Okay, so how's my taste about men changed over the years? Oh, actually, I've always had my standards right from when I was young, and one of my standards is my man must be tall, I don't really care about complexion. I like them fair or dark, but then you must be tall. If you are short, I can't date you. So you must be responsible. You must have a sense of responsibility. You must have a sense of humor. You must be kind. You must be a giver. Those are some of my standards. Of course, you must be spiritual primarily. And right now my standard still remains the same. I still love my man tall, dark, and some, because my fiance is dark now, so I love my man dark now. Tall and some God fearing, and basically that's it. So that has always been my standard then, and right now my standard has not changed, and I'm grateful for the kind of man I met. So standard mates. Okay, so what has changed about my love life and my approach to love is that, then I used to be very selfish. Of course, I understand the fact that the more you grow spiritually, the more you understand the concept of love. And love is an absence of self. So the more you find yourself wanting, the more you're in love, or the more you truly love your partner. So my approach to life then was that, I will love you, but then I have to love myself more. And I used to believe that you can't love more than you love yourself. Well, right then, so even though I want to love you and I'm in love with you, I still put myself first. Come on to me. I was selfish. I was really selfish, and I do not really understand the concept of love as much as I do now. So as I'm growing spiritually, God is enlightening my eyes of understanding as far as love is concerned. And now I'm a relationship coach, so I've grown over time. Years back I was not a relationship coach. Now I'm a relationship coach. So the knowledge I've gathered over time as far as love is concerned has really helped groom me to become the woman I am today, and has really helped shaped my mindset about my approach to love, and my approach to love generally. So that's about that. Okay, so to talk about the growth I've experienced in my spiritual life over the years, it's been so alarming. It's been mind-blowing. It's been really transformational. It's been God. My journey spiritually has been awesome. But just to give you a tip of what my spiritual journey is all about, then 5 years ago, I was religious. I can say this anywhere. I was religious. I believe in self-righteousness. I believe that, if you can walk like this, if you can dress like this, if you can think like this, if you can, tie scarf, if you can if you can do the things you do this way, then you are righteous. I never understood the concept of righteousness, that, I didn't make myself righteous, but it was a free gift God gave to me. Other concept of faith as regards prosperity, long life, divine health, these were things I do not understand about spirituality years back. Right. And another thing about me that's changed as far as my spirituality is concerned is that I now have a personal relationship with God. As I said earlier, that I was religious. So I was just this church goer. I just believe as far as I'm going to church, I'm paying my offering, and I'm doing fine, then I'm okay serving God. So I do not understand the fact that me serving God or me being a Christian is more about having a personal relationship, an intimate relationship with God, which will lead me, or which will actually spur out my potentials. I'm now growing spiritual, and I'm still growing, of course, and a lot of things has changed about my spirituality, but that is just the summary of my spiritual journey and how my mindset has changed towards spirituality so far or over the years. Okay, so this kind of a deep question, but there's nothing too deep about it anyway. So what has changed about my sexuality over the years is that, of course, I used to believe in sexual purity then, and I do still believe in sexual purity now. But what has changed is my mindset and why I believe in sexual purity. Sometimes you might actually be doing what is right, but your mindset, for doing it is not right. So sometimes I'm just doing some things because everybody's saying is right, but you necessarily do not have the understanding personally of why you're doing it. So that was what my sexual purity was like then. I remember that to a very large extent then, I was actually trying to be sexually pure because I liked someone that said that he would love to marry a virgin. And I was practically keeping myself for him. Yeah. So I loved him a lot then. I love him, even though we're not, officially in a relationship. He told me that he would actually love to get married, even though we're young. We're young, but then I knew what virginity was all about, and I knew what sexual purity was all about. And then, we're just loving up on each other then. And he told me, we got to discuss about what he wanted in a woman. And he told me that he would love his woman to be a virgin. So I was practically keeping myself in, not because I have an understanding into the concept of sexual purity according to God's standard, but because I was just trying to keep myself pure and being a virgin for him, right? But right now, I understand the fact that even if any man wants me not to be sexually pure, I can't do that anymore. Now I have an understanding that this is what God will have me do, and not any man will have me do. So I'm doing it now because it is God's commandment, and not because I want to keep myself for any man. That might actually be an advantage or a side advantage to it, but that is not my primary reason for doing it now. So I still believe in sexual purity as I did then, but what has changed is my mindset towards sexual purity, and I have a deeper understanding towards sexual purity. So that's it basically. Okay, so when I was growing up, I wanted to become a medical doctor and nurse. I know everybody used to say this, but there is a twist to my story. So when I was growing up, I didn't have a mentor. So a lot of things I wasn't exposed to. I was the first child, so I really didn't have anybody to really, tell me this is the right thing or not the right thing to do. So then when I was in GSS3, and I wrote my junior WAEC and I passed. I passed very well, excellently. I was told that I will be in science class because I'm one of the brilliant students. And the mindset then is that only the brilliant student goes to science class or science department, why the non-brilliant students will have to go to art department or commercial department. Commercial. So then I was on top of that, I'm brilliant, so I have to be a science student. So that was what actually took me to science department, and I was doing fine. I was doing very well as a science student. My teachers loved me. I was doing very well, brilliantly well done. So meanwhile, there's this hidden potentials I have, and there's this pursuits I have naturally towards anything that has to do with media. And how I knew was that then, anytime I'm going to school and I see newspaper on the road, I'll pick it up, I'll start reading. You know, if I see any flyer or I see any banner anywhere, I'll start reading. Like, I'll start reading it out loud and clear. I was just trying to get better at the way I talk. I was just trying to get better at my phonics. If there's if I even understand what phonics was there. Like, I was just practically just trying to get better at, you know, the way I speak generally. And I never knew that was something that was like a journey inside of me, trying to open my eyes to who I should become. So after my senior WAEC, right? Yeah. So after my senior WAEC, I wrote my exam as a science student. I passed, but I didn't have chemistry because I never liked chemistry, and I didn't have mathematics because I never liked mathematics. So when I was done writing my senior WAEC, a mentor of mine actually got to see that there is this potential in me to be an art student because I love reading, you know, and he advised me that would I consider being a journalist. And I said, what is journalism all about? And he told me what journalism was. I said, this is what I've always wanted. I never knew the name is journalism. I never knew it's broadcasting. I never knew anything like that. So I really love to do this. And he was like, okay. Now I started working because I was already a graduate. I mean, secondary school graduate. So I was working already, but then I wanted to go for it badly. So I wrote GCE then. And when I wrote GCE as an art student, and I literally had like 3 months to prepare to write the exam. So I registered as an art student and I wrote my GCE and I passed literature, but I didn't pass government. So I had to re-enroll in a school officially so that I'll be able to write WAEC, so that I'll be able to write WAEC and NECO all over again.
So you went back extra 3 years.
Exactly.